What a disappointing way for the Kansas City Chiefs to kick off this season as they fell to the Detroit Lions by a final score of 21-20. This is something that Chiefs Kingdom, including myself, didn't anticipate happening. So I'm going to give you my initial takeaways from the game and if it is really time to panic, which of course it is not. But with that, let's cut the chit chat and let's get right into this video. Now, before I start going in on this Kansas City Chiefs offense and specifically the wide receiving core, there's two things I want to bring up. First, I want to thank everyone who joined my live stream yesterday. It was really fun and enjoyable, specifically on a night where the game wasn't that much fun to watch. It's always fun interacting with Chiefs Kingdom, and there's definitely going to be more live streams in the future, and I will schedule them out, and I look forward to seeing all the Chiefs Kingdom there. And also, before I do kick off this and it gets into a negative flow, I do want to mention, it is not time to panic. I am your typical Kansas City Chiefs fan, and it's hard for me to contain my emotions, specifically when the game is going in and it's raw emotion. Negativity will come out, disappointment will come out. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of things against the Kansas City Chiefs going into this game that we thought they could overcome, and unfortunately it was not the case. Now, can they right some of these wrongs? Of course. This is a two-time Super Bowl team with a mature roster, and they know what to do going forward. But in this game, they looked very lackluster. So let's talk about it. Now, the first thing I want to get out the way, because it's something a lot of social media has focused on, and of course, rightfully so, has been the topic of conversation surrounding the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's been no other than Chris Jones. And of course, he showed up to the game and had his own suite. To me, I think it's a bad look, but I'm not going to say much on that. But a lot of media pundits today's takeaway is, oh, Chris Jones earned his money. And all I got to say to that is, if you really came out of this game thinking that Chris Jones has a bigger stance than what he already had, me and you did not watch the same game, because it was not the defense's fault why this team lost the game. Now, did they play a perfect game? No, they did not. But did they play a better game than I anticipated them coming into here? Hell yes, they did. They literally, it was two important series, but they literally, besides two long drives, played a very stout defensive game, and Steve Spagnuolo drew up a perfect game plan. And honestly, I would love to see what this defense would have done if momentum wasn't against them, because those two drives, when the Detroit Lions went for it on the fake punt, that was momentum and it swung immediately, and it was just like a rolling ball. The Chiefs defense did not know how to bounce back from that. And then also, in the fourth quarter, when they picked up that crucial 3rd and 12, again, just a ball that continued to roll downhill, and they couldn't swing that momentum the other way. But when it was just them playing stout defense, they forced some 3-and-outs. They even forced a turnover in the red zone as well, and they looked very well. And even the defensive line, again, it wasn't perfect. But when you see a guy like Mike Dana step up, one of the most underrated defensive linemen, pass rushers for the Kansas City Chiefs, injured throughout majority of training camp, comes in with a crucial deflected pass and a huge sack. I'm excited to see him this year because no one mentions him. But if he's healthy, he can be a fun rotational pass rusher. And then the rookie himself, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I need to see more of him in the lineup because he was in the backfield and causing pressure. We got a little glimpse of that in the preseason, but now it's regular season time, and now he's still doing it. He may be ready for when the lights shine brightest. And then you mentioned guys like Nick Bolton. He took the challenge. He was the team leader. That's what you expect when you're missing the true team leader on the defensive line. He was shutting up and putting people on the ground. And even Penei Sewell, he was bullying him too, throwing his big body on the ground. That's something you love to see from your leaders. In the secondary, yes, shaky at times, but stood their ground as well. Trent McDuffie forced a fumble. I love Trent McDuffie. He's a smaller cornerback, but he's physical. It's something very rare and something you're not used to seeing from their stature. So Literally, the media pundits, you came out of this game thinking Chris Jones has a bigger stance. You're nuts. My main takeaway was this offense and how bad they looked. If anyone came out with the bigger stance, Travis Kelce might want to hold out now. He might want to be asking for more money because we looked abysmal without him. You could tell it was completely different. But also, I want to maybe make it a 50-50 split, if not give more of the blame to coaching, because coaching did not have this team ready by any stretch of the imagination. And I did not know what we were doing out there. Was there some positive moments? Slim, but there was some. But it was mostly negative. And the only one who really looked to show up to play today was Patrick Mahomes. He looked like Patrick Mahomes back in 2021, where when things didn't work, he had to depend on his legs and become Superman himself. And as much as I love to see it, I hate to see it because he needs playmakers. And I think that is the most cliche quote we hear is, oh, well, in any game, you got Patrick Mahomes, so there's a chance. True, but I hate the fact that we depend on that so much. One thing that I really wanted to take away from this game, and I'm disappointed that we can't, is the receiving core. This should have been a huge day for one of these guys. With Travis Kelce missing, one of these guys should have stepped up. And none of them? That's crazy. That's literally crazy. And then also, why I'm going to blame coaching too is the rotation with it. You saw what was clicking with MVS. He had crucial catches. Justin Watson, even though the fan base shames him, he had 2 clutch catches as well. And they barely saw the field. It's like we were rotating guys, but incorrectly too. And I'm not gonna shame Kadarius Toney today as much as I was during my live stream, because it was tough to watch. And when you get my raw emotions, you're gonna get some raw actions too. And I was crucial of him in the moment. But also, I understand. That's what happens when you miss all the training camp, preseason, and you're coming off of an injury. You're gonna be rusty, and that's the key. But I don't want to blame Kadarius Toney more as the coaches, because you knew that this could have been a possibility. So you should have had what I thought was going to happen, a small package for him just to get him ready and going, and then just ramp him up to speed as the weeks progress. But they had him out there. And at the end of the day, you could have had a veteran presence like MVS. Like, I thought this could have been his game to where have him step up. But they forced Kadarius Toney out there, and it was kind of disappointing to see, definitely on the replay of the films as well. So as much as those crucial drops, that pick 6 hurts us, and he will hold his head on it because it is a team effort, especially in a loss. But you take some of those plays back, or if some of those plays happen, the Kansas City Chiefs win that game. But Kadarius Toney, he's going to be a threat. Definitely when he's fully up to speed. I think people are crucial of him and like, oh, now the Kansas City Chiefs need to trade for a veteran wide receiver, or they should have added DeAndre Hopkins or Odell Beckham Jr. This wide receiver core is trash. I'm not ready to go there yet either. We've seen there is talent there, and we even saw last night. There's rookie talent there with Rashee Rice, which, again, so disappointed in that too, but that's how Coach Reed moves. With his rookies, he stays with a small package, and then he takes them out, and then week by week increases their workload. At that point, I don't care. Rashee Rice was your best wide receiver last night. Let him eat. If he's going to be the one to be dependent on, he will be the one to make a play. And that just wasn't the case. And then some of the play calling too. I do not know what was happening there. And you guys already know I hate with the capital 8 that Blake Bell fake 3rd and 1 quarterback sneak, but then they try to add their own little twist to it to where, oh, you think we're going to run Blake Bell, but nope, we're going to have Mahomes fake a timeout and they're going to have Rashee Rice come on reverse. What are we doing here? Pacheco is a grown man. Let that man get a yard. And if he doesn't, I will be more satisfied in putting more blame on a running back for not getting a yard instead of you doing some cute shit and going all across the field. It doesn't make sense, and it really rarely ever works. Just stick to the basics. Go north when you're trying to get a yard. It seems so simple. And honestly, do a quarterback sneak. Nobody is going to expect it at this point. You're literally throwing every page in the book besides that, so no one's going to expect a quarterback sneak. I know you don't want your $500 million quarterback to do it, but damn, at this point, we are terrible at 3rd and short. You might as well give him a shot to do it. So I think that can solve a lot of issues, is more effective running, and hey, when there needs to be a play to be made, put it in the playmaker's hand. At the end of the day, you don't want him to get injured, but you can't just assume injuries are going to happen and be scared in the game. It's just kind of ridiculous strategy. So the Kansas City Chiefs do need to tweak that up, because last year it was hard on 3rd and shorts, and it can't happen again this year as well. And another play calling thing too that I've seen on social media, a lot of Chiefs Kingdom are going after the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't quite get, but I guess it's twofold. So with the 4th and forever, 4th and 25 in their own territory, everyone's like, well, why didn't they punt? They had 3 timeouts. The defense could have stopped them, and then they could have got the ball back. Anyways, the Detroit Lions at that point were running the ball really effectively on the Kansas City Chiefs. They were going to pick up a first down if it was pinned or if it was in their territory like they did. So the Kansas City Chiefs knew at that time it was desperation football time. You needed Patrick Mahomes to make a play, and he tried his best to do it. And unfortunately, Sky Moore couldn't come down with the ball. So I'm not going to be too critical on that play, because at the end of the day, if Moore catches it, you're giving praise and kudos to Coach Reid for trusting in his quarterback. So it's twofold. But don't be too heavy on that. And I can't go out with this either, but Sky Moore, another key member of the receiving corps who we expect and anticipate to take a huge leap. And now I'm getting concerned about him. And that should be concerning for Chiefs Kingdom, if anything, because I've been his biggest cheerleader throughout the whole offseason. And after week 1, that's my most alarming thing, is what are we doing here? It's like Mahomes isn't looking his way, and I don't know if it's because he's not getting open, if he doesn't trust him, or what's going on. And then when the ball's thrown to him, he's not coming down with it. It's a crazy stat line to think that Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore both had a combined targets of 8 and 6 drop balls and a tip deflected pick 6. Things need to change quickly, but I believe there is a lot of correcting that can happen, and this is still a Super Bowl caliber team. Don't get it twisted, Chiefs Kingdom. It's one loss, one not important loss. And if you look at it in a different perspective, no Travis Kelce, no Chris Jones, no Charles Omenihu, basically no receiving corps to be supporting of Patrick Mahomes, and this offense was non-existent, there you go, and they still lost by a point. If this defense can really keep progressing, they can legit maybe be a top 10 defense we anticipate this year. It all depends when Charles Omenihu and Chris Jones comes back, of course, but that would help bolster this team. And then this offense, they're gonna find a way to click. But I need to have it soon, because next week is definitely more important than yesterday. Jacksonville is for playoff spots. Yeah, it's week 2. Call me crazy, but that playoff seeding all over it, and you can't go 0-2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars team that is young, hungry, and you beat them twice last year, and they don't want you coming back in their home doing the same thing. So with that, Chiefs Kingdom, that's some of my quick initial takeaways. They're bitter, they're hard, but what do you expect after a loss? Because we're not usually used to that from the Kansas City Chiefs. With that, I'm going to check out, but before I do, please dive in the comments. I know a lot of us are upset. I want to hear some of your thoughts. Let's discuss. We're not going to have fun, but we're going to have conversations. So let's do that. I'm going to sign off. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. I'm taking out. Y'all take care. Peace.